Good morning.
Morning.
2 tickets to Miami, if you don't mind.
And do you have a preference for seat assignment?
Oh, is there a window seat?
Sure, let me check for you.
Traveling the globe as much as we have has left us with a lot of memorable moments. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer, and on this edition of the Travel Magazine, we would like to share with you some of our most memorable moments as we look back at some Caribbean highlights. So what did you like the most about Jamaica?
Jamaica. Well, you know, there were 2 things I really like, and that was the market, shopping. Shopping is my thing.
Yes.
And then, of course, there was the Dun River Falls.
That's beautiful. Hey? That climb was quite incredible.
Ocho Rios is different from the other towns, especially if you're coming off of a cruise ship. Is exceptionally good because it's right, the cruise pier is right downtown, and you can walk from the ship into Ocho Rios. It started out as a little fishing village, and in the 70s the government stepped in, built up the beach, built some hotels along the beach, and started out as a premier tourist resort. The main beach, which you can see very clearly from the ship and from the air, extends all the way across the Ocho Rios Harbour. And it's right downtown, which is what makes it special, because once you're in Ocho Rios, you can always get to the main beach. It has all the water sports, everything from parasailing, jet skiing, windsurfing, you name it. And the snorkeling and scuba diving off this coast is absolutely remarkable.
This is our island in the sun, where my people are style since time.
The Ocho Rios Craft Market, which is the largest craft market in Ocho Rios, it offers quite a variety of Jamaican craft, all made in Jamaica, all hand done. Straw goods, wood carvings, paintings, lots of paintings. We have a lot of really brilliant artists and sculptors here in Jamaica, and a lot of people come to Jamaica just to collect our artwork. You'll find a lot of the budding painters will sell their stuff at the craft market. We have a lot of the international artists who started out in the craft market, and so it's usually a good place to start. You get their work when they're budding and hope that they'll become somebody one day. You bargain, you have to haggle. It's expected of you. If you just buy off the bat, then they've really taken you for a ride. I usually say start at half of whatever they say. Don't expect to pay half, you won't get away with that either. But work your way up to 3/4 of whatever they say. Settle somewhere between what you say and what they say. Feel free to bargain. If you've been to Ocho Rios and you've not been to Duns River Falls, you've not really been to Ocho Rios. I would say at least 75% of the people coming off of the cruise ship would go to Duns River Falls. Duns River Falls is a 600-foot cascade. You actually climb the waterfall. That's what makes it unique. Most waterfalls that you see all over the world, you can just look at them. This one you actually climb up with the aid of a guide. Duns River Falls is near the site of what was the Battle of Las Trueras, which was one of the last battles fought between the Spanish and the English for control of the island way back in the 1600s. It's one of the main attractions while you're here.
Mexico, Cozumel, Chichen Itza. What stands out in your mind the most?
That plane trip,
To Chichen Itza
that's right.
and the climb to the top of the pyramids that we try to do.
This construction was used for astronomy. It was the sundial. Astronomers was used that construction to see important days, like equinoxes and solstices. This construction we consider one of the best pyramids in the Mayan world. The whole construction is dedicated to the solar system. Steps means the days, platforms means the months, and also those decorations means the cycle of the solar system. If you put your feet like this, you're never going to fall down. Yeah? So that's why the Mayas was built steps like this, because you have to climb those steps in zigzag. Because Kukulkan, he's descending like a plume serpent. We have the temple up on top. The temple, there are 4 chambers for important ritual ceremonies of Kukulkan or the plume serpent. That construction was used for celebrations of the equinoxes. Every 21st March and September, many people, mixed people, Mayan people, tourist people came here to see the equinox. This is the biggest ball court. We have many of those in Chichen, but this is the biggest one. In that time, those people was playing ritual games. Also, the game of the gods of the night and day. In that time, 7 players in each team was playing. 2 teams was playing here with a rubber ball with 9 pounds heavy. With your elbows, with your knees and hips, you have to hit the ball, and you have to put the ball through the hoops of those rings. You can see all those people use bombs through the nose, like this. Also headdresses with different feathers, a different design of pectorals, sandals, also the protections like solar symbols. That's the temple of the jaguars, warriors. All the spectators were sitting up on top of those constructions, and those temples was used for the same ritual games. This is one of the most important constructions of the warriors. According to the investigations, those people was built first this pyramid and then many additional constructions. We have beautiful columns with the most important people, like prisoners, like warriors, like chief soldiers, and also priest soldiers.
We will be back with more of the travel magazine just after this, so stay with us.
Cayman Islands, how do you feel about them?
Jake, you know that Cayman Islands is one of my favorite islands, and we've been there a couple of times, but Stingray City, you remember?
I remember it very well.
Like a long time ago, guys that have their own personal fishing boats used to go out and they go fishing and catch a load of fish. Then they would come back in, anchor up in the shallow part, and they'd stand in the water and clean their fish and scrub their boats. And you know, stingrays being bottom feeders, they just started coming around after a while and feeding off all these scraps. They see the boats coming up and hear the boats coming, and they just assume that there's going to be a lot of people in the water and there's going to be a lot of food in the water. So they're pretty aware of what's going on. But it's important when you go to Stingray City to go with an experienced guide, somebody that's been doing these trips for a long time, somebody that knows the stingrays, knows how they act. You know, you can't really never know them personally, but you have to know details about their tail and where the barb is, the part that stings you, how to feed them correctly so you don't get your hands in their mouth. They don't have any teeth or anything, but they have 2 real hard plates. and if you accidentally get your hand in their mouth, then they can mash it up real bad. You know, I tell the people to relax and don't start jumping around in the water, because if you do that, then you can be jumping up and down on the stingrays, and they're not really apt to sting you, but they do have some hard bones in the middle of their back. And if you jump up and down on them, you can hurt your feet and hurt the stingray. Besides all the diving and the game fishing around the island, this is probably one of the highlights that the people think of, and the different stops that we do on our snorkel trips all the time while they're on the boat. They're always asking, when are we going to get to Stingray City? Are we going to go there now? How long are we going to be there? Most of the time, they're really interested into the stingrays.
Aruba, one of the ABC islands. How do you feel about it?
Een echte Hollandse eiland met prachtige Hollandse huisjes.
A real Dutch island with beautiful Dutch houses. What else?
And a very nice Dutch flavor.
Well, the climate here is beautiful. We have an average around 84 degrees Fahrenheit yearly around. We have one of the best beaches here in the Caribbean, and it's about 5-6 miles long, sugar white sand, and it's fantastic. Clear water, and the temperature of the water is always fine. We have all kinds of stores in the main street, and since 1986 we have really changed downtown and make it a very more attractive shopping center for the islands of Aruba. The Kasibari rock formations, they are huge boulders which people can walk on the step, go on top of it, and then they have a nice panoramic view of the island.
Curacao. What did you like the most?
You know, like shopping along the markets. Can you remember with the girl that speaks fluently Dutch? And she was buying all kinds of things. I like that very much, yes. And then we bought some artwork.
That's right.
And you spoke a lot of Dutch.
And I enjoyed it. It was very strange for me to be walking around in a marketplace on an island in the southern Caribbean and to be speaking Dutch.
Most of the people, when they think of the Caribbean, they think of white sandy beaches and they think of palm trees. But if they come to Curacao, it's completely different. It's a little cosmopolitan island, and most of them, they're very astonished. Our architecture is Dutch and also the Spanish. We have a lot of street names, Dutch street names. Our officially spoken language is Dutch.
Die hebt u niet. Zoute haring ook niet?
Nee, ook niet.
Lust u wel zoute haring?
Nee, misschien wel. Ik heb nog niet.
Ik heb nog niet geproefd, hè? Oh, oké, want dit is werkelijk de moeite waard.
We have a lot of Dutch stores, and I guess the people coming from Holland, they like it because we speak more Dutch also here, and it's like a part of home. You know, when you're coming from your country where it's very cold, and you're coming in the Caribbean, and still you find a little piece of Holland because we have the buildings, which nearly look exactly the same, but the difference is that in Holland it's gray, and in Curacao it's colored, you know, very nice pastel color. We have a floating market here. These people are coming from Venezuela. They come with their vessels. Venezuela is not very far from here. The fruits are fresh.
So we take this,
Esto.
and this, and this. Do we need grapes as well? We'll have some grapes as well, please. Yeah. How much is that? How much?
This.
No? 6 guilders for
For
6
only this?
black bananas. 3 for 1. 4 for 1 guilder. How about 4 for 1 guilder?
Yeah.
4 for 1 guilder? Okay.
Here you can barter a little bit.
So did we barter okay?
I guess so. I guess so.
Did we get a good enough deal?
Definitely.
You know, you never know when you've been bartering whether they took you or you took them.
That's it. But anyway, we thought we did a good job.
Well,
Anyway.
that's right. We'll be back with more of the Travel Magazine right after this. So stay with us. Our next stop is Grenada.
Can you remember the island of the spices, the coriander, the saffron, the curries, the nutmeg? Oh, it was wonderful.
Well, spices is part of Grenada. Grenada is called the Spice Island of the Caribbean. We have spices like cinnamon, bay leaf, tonka bean, ginger, saffron, pimento, all the spices. The people, we live off spices. We grow them, we sell them for the tourists, we use them locally in our cooking. So spice is part of us. If you have no spice, you say no Grenada.
These are some of the spices that is grown on this island.
Yeah,
For example, I have in my hand here the nutmeg.
the nutmeg.
One nutmeg has 2 spices. The red part, the covering, is called the mace. As you can see, that's the mace. Inside of this shell, there is a nut that you have to crack open. You crack it open, like this, you get this, that's a nut. You have to grate this in your rum punch, your eggnog, and so on.
Good.
This is the cocoa, all your chocolate product comes from. So I'm going to cut this in half. And like this, I'm going to open the cocoa beans. You can see the cocoa beans?
Yeah.
Yes. We are going to take it off and put in a box and cover with banana leaves. Let it ferment for about 8 days. After that, we are going to dry it in the sun for a couple of days. And then we are going to grind it, patch it and grind it in the grinder. It comes out soft, so we can roll them into balls. And it dissolve, and you just add milk and sugar to your taste.
So Jake, I bought some duty-free t-shirts.
Oh, wonderful. Duty-free Barbados. What was it like?
Oh, wonderful. You know, I love the shopping and the perfume stores. There was everything you can buy.
The new cruise terminal really fits into our plans to be the leading duty-free resort in the Caribbean. And it cost us $9 million to build, and it was opened officially on January 14th by the Prime Minister of Barbados. And there's about 45 duty-free shops in there, Columbia Emeralds, you name it. All of the top-of-the-line duty-free goods are in there. Fantastic place. It's a beautiful terminal, very conducive to purchasing and browsing, and the restaurants in there. You can get all the services you need on the island, horseback riding, taxis, motor scooters, whatever you need, you can get in there. There's an information booth in there as well. It's beautiful. Well, you know, Barbados is the most easterly of all the Caribbean islands, so the Atlantic Ocean gets us first, and that's what you've seen over there on the East Coast. It's wild and rugged over there, and what we're planning to do, in fact, it's not law, but it is like a convention. Everybody on the island agrees with it. We're going to keep the East Coast of Barbados as is for the foreseeable future. So you can't build any houses over there. Whatever is there, that's it. No more houses out there, no hotels, no more construction. So it's really beautiful out there. You go out there, it's serene, you can get at one with nature over there and that sort of thing. Actually, the area is called, most of that rugged area is called the Scotland District, because when the British came here in the 17th century and they explored out there and so on, they said it reminded them of Scotland. I've been to Scotland, and it's much warmer than Scotland out there.
You know, we need to board our flight, so I think we should get going. Well, that's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. Be sure to join us again.